Welcome back, everyone. This is a really good app called windy.com, and here I'm tracking the humidity. I'm going to focus on southwest and pay attention to the bottom of your screen. You can see the percentage right here, and judging by the color, I would say that this is around about 90%, between 90 and 100%. And if we're taking that in consideration of what the mainstream media is saying, and bear in mind right here you can see this is the base level is taken out of 50,000 feet. I can go to 30,000 feet right here, and the reason why I'm doing that because I want to track the humidity at that base level of where these trails are forming, which is 30,000 feet, thereof 25,000 to 35,000 feet. And what's happening here, you can have at least a decent accurate measurement of humidity. Now remember the mainstream media like this here saying that the humidity level, this is taken by ground level. In theory we need to take measurements above 25,000 feet, and this is what I managed to do. I managed to find the app. At the moment it's like this, clear sky, and hopefully it should remain like that. Oh, see a bit of cloud, but never mind, we'll see what happens. And I reckon probably tomorrow morning we might have a bunch of trails. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning, see what the outcome's like. Welcome back, everyone. So the clip you just saw was very uneventful. Let's roll the time lapse, and that was on the 25th of July 2025. In fact, if you look at these trails, they actually disappeared, and this is the morning. In fact, it was quite a nice day. We are the 28th of July 2025, and come up to around about 8:30 in the morning. So far I haven't really seen any trails. Actually no, I did see one, but first things first, look, this stripy effect. Let me put some photographs on the side here so you can see. Again, the community will say, well, the pumping harp beams through the clouds, and I say to myself, well, if that's the case, is it really going to change the weather? In fact, if you go back to one of my old videos I've done on harp clouds, I'm going to put the link in the description on the top here if I remember, you can see the harp clouds in the sky, and in fact it did nothing to change the weather. In fact, it was actually quite a nice day for the remainder of that day. So people saying they're pumping harp beams into the clouds. Well, first things, I haven't seen any evidence to actually prove that's a real true thing. And another question I ask is that the fact that if they are pumping beams into the clouds, doesn't that affect the aircraft? Because I've been told that they can't fly over Alaska if the HARP facility has been activated. So we can roll that one out as well. Look, here's a bunch of photographs from back in the day from my collection, just to show you, look, this is nothing new. And I'm going to put an explanation why it turns like this. I can't remember, but this is called this. I can't remember all these bloody cloud names. It's yeah, it depends on the level of the atmosphere. This is where it goes by, is either stratus, cirrus, cumulus, altocumulus, cirrostratus. It was all over the place. So here we have so far the sky, and it's supposed to be a pretty good day apparently. So let's see if this harp beam clouds actually make any difference to the weather. I felt I saw a trail somewhere, I don't know. Anyway, right, I'll catch you in a bit, me old cock. Right, tight. Let's have a look. Let's see what we got here in terms of humidity. Yes, I finally have the app where I can track the humidity. Yay! This is very essential because now we are going against what the mainstream media is saying, and we're going to correlate that towards what the chemtrail community is saying. So if you pay attention to the bottom of this screen right here, you can see the percentage, and we can correlate that between the colorization. And we can correlate that to the colorization. I've said that so many times. And we can color code that. And I think right here we are looking at the base level of between 90 and 100%. So the percentage is there for trails to persist. Now, this is the mainstream media, okay? Have a little look here. Right at the bottom, it says meters and feet. Now, it's just 30,000 feet. Yes, that is the altitude of where the trails are being sprayed, or just a natural occurrence, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. I don't really care. Here it is. Here, humidity on the right hand side. You can see. So yes, there's humidity taken at 30,000 feet. This is just see how it is, because if it's on a widespread area, we should see trails forming everywhere. And it's how humidity moves, and it does flow. It does have a flowing effect. It's the same sort of situation with clouds. But the vast majority of the UK is like right there past Birmingham and Liverpool. It's like 100%. So you should have trails forming in that area. In fact, should we just go on the map and have a little look? Using the same app, I can switch between humidity and clouds and obviously satellite. So what I want to do, let's have a look and see if we can find any trails. So look. Especially near like Liverpool sort of area, because that's where the percentage was around about 100%. Can't really see anything. But anyway, my area here, yeah, you can see pretty much no trails, but if you pay attention to here, you do see a bit of ripple effect. And what I'm saying is nothing to do with heart clouds or anything like that. But yeah, can't really see anything. I am back. I'm going to show you something in a minute. Look at that. Here's a video I've seen the same thing before last year. That's pretty cool. Nice rainbow effect. However, if I turn the camera around, we have a trail, and we have some harp clouds. Some say it's gravity wave clouds, but most likely it's called cirrocumulus. No, altocumulus. I do apologise. Cirrocumulus is more bubbly, and altocumulus, which is here, which is a stripy effect. I'll put some altocumulus pictures on the screen so you can see. There we go, and we have trail. First decent one I've seen in my area. Bear in mind, remember I said this, I'm only observing a very small portion of the atmosphere. I would like to see the humidity. Oh, look at that. So this type of cloud here, it's more, yes, look at that, that's awesome. Oh, that's a perfect thumbnail. It's one of those high altitude clouds. So what we're seeing at the moment is this stratocumulus, and we have cumulus, and above that, this whitey hazy cloud. I think is part, might be wrong, something called a linear cloud. I think I might be wrong on that one. There we go. Should have stopped pointing the camera up into the sun. And the time-lapse camera would definitely pick that up. But yeah, look at that. There we go. A bit of altocumulus in one media area. A second question I always ask myself. Hold on, I'm going to take a picture. I've always asked myself this question as well. Why they just focus in the beam clouds in one direction? It's like just only a very small portion of the sky. Look at that, bloody... You not see that? Look, a bloody spider has gone from that bamboo all the way into there. Oh, it's made a new home. Where is he to? He's gone underneath the leaf. Oh, that's nice. I'll have a new home. What bloody hell was that? I like going across the screen. Anyway, nevertheless, so is that trail going to block the sun? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not anyway. But I always wonder that, why do they only focus the beam in one direction? Is it there to change the weather? You have to ask yourself why. Why are they purposely pointing beams into the clouds to change the weather? What, to make it good? It's supposed to be good for the rest of the week. To make it crap? Oh, let's get off another fact. And through my analysis and my previous parts I've done on my trail analysis videos, these harp clouds don't do anything. They really don't, I'm going to be honest. I'm back shortly afterwards. I think this might be a cloud, an actual cloud. So I have to tell, it's been there for a while, but it is connected to this bit here. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is a natural cloud. It doesn't look like a chem to me. The overall structure of it looks to more like a cirrus cloud. A big, long cirrus cloud. I'm going to put some cirrus clouds on the screen so you can see. But it almost looks like a chem. I mean, I know cirrus clouds can look like this depending on the atmospheric conditions. But nevertheless, it's quite striking. I think this is what the community are getting confused by. They see that and be like, oh, look, it's definitely been sprayed. Hold on, let's just look. It's like, for instance, look, check that out. I would say that's a cirrus. Now check out this. Look at that. That's a trail. That is a clear trail. Look at the structure of it. It's more bubbly. It's more, when it spreads out, yes, it can look like what I consider is a cirro-cumulus type. Goes a bit bubbly and all that. But if I look at that, and even the one below it as well, got one there. So these two compared to that. Big difference. But the atmospheric conditions could be different from there to what it is behind me. Sure, not denying that. But nevertheless, it is definitely a striking cloud. But I would honestly say this is cirrus. Yeah, definitely. At lunchtime, what we've got here. That. Yeah, only a small little trail, nothing dramatic. We do have that bubbly cloud. That's cirrocumulus. That there. There we go. Still have that very faint white cloud at the back. You can see that there, but anyway. Right, there we go. Right, I have returned back. Obviously 12 o'clock. Past 12 o'clock. This cloud here, which I saw up in the sky, it was shining in the sun, has given off that effect. Well, this is the same type of cloud, but it's more outspread. This is the type of cloud which you'll normally get a full streak, like a hole through it. There's still a bit of altocumulus in the sky, and you've got a bit of cirrocumulus, and that's that cirrocumulus there, the bubbly clouds. We've got a mixed bag of clouds today. But that there might give off a full streak, which is this. It's the hole, which people blame on harp clouds. People blame on beams, the harp beams. But I don't really see any proof of that, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see what happens in a bit. Welcome back. We are coming up to 4:45. And from my observation, not a lot of trails. Not a lot. One over there and one big one there. Not going to block out the sun though, is it? And I doubt it's going to give me aluminium poisoning. What do you reckon, seagull? go. So far, it's looking pretty decent. So those harp clouds, as you can see a little bit of ripple there, hasn't done anything, hasn't it? Hasn't blocked out the sun, hasn't changed the weather. It's been really nice today. Really nice. Typical summer's day. Beautiful, but we have a trail. Oh my god, panic and fear. Must be afraid of trails. Oh, check this out. Where are you to? He's up there somewhere. There it is. Ah, look at glimmer. A moment ago, as you just saw just then, it gave off like a huge ball of light. Oh yeah, alright. So, anyway, this is what it's like at the moment. There we go. That over there looks like some sort of cirrus. But otherwise, yeah, it's been alright today. It's been quite nice. I have returned. We are 10 o'clock at night. Coming up to 10 o'clock at night. Where's that beep coming from? I can't find out where it's coming from. Anyway, it's been pretty good today. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go for the time lapse in a minute. But it's been a mixed bag today, isn't it? With all the clouds, different types of clouds. But most importantly, we've been seeing some trails. In fact, we need to have a look whether or not the ISS is going to fly over. I still have my eye out for the ISS, and you can see it's way too far south for me, as I'm based in the southwest of England. As you can see, it's way too far south. But anyway, nevertheless, I will keep my eyes to the skies. Shit, I just caught something in the sky. Let's capture something. What is this? Huh. What on earth is that? Is that some sort of plasma orb? What the hell? Hold on, wait a minute. Let me zoom out. Ah, it's just the planet Venus, you idiot. I tricked you. Do you understand where people tend to misidentify objects in the sky? And it's like, not saying with like trails and like cirrus clouds, but also with planets. I've done it before, don't worry. It's all a learning curve. But anyway, that's enough of me dicking around. Let's go through the time lapse. Once again, let's go through the time lapse on the 28th of July 2025. Obviously, I can't spend the whole day looking up in the sky. I understand that, got work to do. But this is why I rely on a time lapse. So let's have a look. I want to see if we can find that full streak. Remember that hole that's been punched out with the clouds? We do see the altocumulus, which is the ripple effect there. Now we can see some trails. Just a couple. It wasn't a lot from my observation anyway. That's that lenticular cloud you can see right there. I love days like this because you're going to get a whole mixed bag of clouds. You can see the rainbow effect due to the lenticular cloud. There we go. You see it just like appears from nowhere. Look at that. That's quite impressive, isn't it? So from my observation, Not a lot of trails, but we do have a lot of that lenticular cloud you can see here forming, which is obviously a very high altitude cloud surface layer. I'm going to be coming into the evening. Let's see if we can find any trails, because that is a very common reoccurrence we see in the evening is the trails. Obviously, we've got a bit of cirrus at the moment, which is always a sign of moisture in the atmosphere. So maybe we won't get any trails. Maybe we do. Doesn't look like it. No. There we go. Coming into nighttime. And so far, no trails. Let's have a little look at night. And we woke up in the morning to pretty much rain. So yeah, there we go. So there we have it. This is the time lapse on the 28th of July 2025. Just a couple of trails in the sky. Now we can take in consideration that the fact we can track the humidity, this is extremely important. So we can analyze what the mainstream media is saying compared to what the chemtrail community is saying. And then we can make a realistic perspective on what we're actually seeing in the sky. So once again, did the trails block out the sun? No, it did not. In fact, it's probably one of the most stunning time lapse I've seen this year. That very high altitude lenticular cloud, they can just appear from nowhere and disappear and can get bigger and different sort of structures. Very interesting time lapse indeed. So I'll see you next time on the Cosmic Twilight on YouTube and Investigate with Nick on Rumble. I shall see you very soon.